Well, we might as well, on that note, you're not a particular lover of Chelsea. We know Nick is.
No, but, you know, Chelsea, but you know, I'm saying, but you know, I admire what they've done, because I admire what they've done, and the fact, you know, I've always been one that says Torres will score goals again, because you don't lose that. You don't lose that. You may find it difficult to get them, but you never lose that. And now look at what's going on there. Fantastic.
Right. Well, let's talk to Nick about it. I mean, hello, mate. Nice to talk to you, and no doubt you could also, in your own way, can't quite believe what's happening in the last few weeks, can you?
That's right, yeah. And by the way, I still do like you, Luther Bliss.
See, that's much more
good of you to say that. Good of you to say
that. It's certainly been an incredible few weeks, and it's very, very difficult to explain or put your finger on exactly what's happened to Chelsea and how they've changed the fortunes around all that team. But Di Matteo certainly managing himself into a job. The question is which job.
Yeah, that's a very good point.
I mean, I would imagine what they'd want to do with him there now is keep him as a very able number 2 if they can, and bring in.
I have a feeling that my personal view is that he will get the job. That there's so much momentum behind him. It's going to be very difficult for them not to give him the job. Obviously, it depends very much.
Yeah, what I'm saying. It depends really if he actually wins it, doesn't he?
Yeah. I mean, Avram Grant got the team to the final and was then dumped. So there's no guarantee just getting to the final is going to be enough. But if he wins the FA Cup next week and the Champions League a week after that, it's going to be very difficult to see how they not give him the job.
And with
Guardiola in particular having definitely taking time off, he's not going to be persuaded to come to Chelsea. I think it might well be a question of let's give Di Matteo the job, see how he goes. If in a year or so's time he hasn't been able to take the team forward, then Guardiola might then be ready to, take up the challenge. But if Guardiola was available now, I think they might have gone for him. But as he isn't, he's made it clear he wants to have a year off or whatever it is. I think they'll stick with Di Matteo.
There is an intriguing setup there, of course, isn't it? I mean, and I think Luther makes a point there. I imagine Di Matteo would be happy to kind of take a number 2 spot at Chelsea. It's not, there's no dishonour in that. I'd be more inclined to worry about whether a manager wants Bobby Di Matteo sat on his shoulder, having already clearly proven himself to be the man of the players. It's an awkward situation for a new man to come in on, though, Nick, isn't it that?
Exactly, and a lot of new managers, particularly big-name managers, will want to bring their own team with them, as AVB did and his predecessors. They all had their own favourites, whether it's as number 2, as coaches, they tend to bring in 3 or 4 others as well. If they negotiate and bring in somebody who is a top manager like the German national team manager Lowe, he'll want to bring players in, he'll want to bring a team in, whether that would include Di Matteo. But having said that, Chelsea have always, or regularly in the last few years, have had a former player as a number 2. We had Clark, we had Ray Wilkins, Di Matteo was there, and keeping that association with the club. Whoever's been the number 1 has always been, or certainly in the Abramovich era, has been something that Chelsea have done. They've turned over the manager too quickly.
That could be the deal maker for the new guy who comes in.
That's right.
Luther, I'd ask Nick this question in a moment's time. You just touched on the Fernando Torres situation. Hat-trick today and goals a la Torres of old.
That's right.
You say you thought he was going to come good because he clearly had the pedigree. Why hadn't it happened up until now, though? What's your opinion on that one, Luther?
It's sometimes what you can do as a striker, as a player, or whatever, you can actually try too hard, and it looks everything he was trying too hard. He looked very tense. He never. I mean, you look at the goal that he got, and he just opened his body shape and just slotted the ball in. That was very relaxed. Everything about it said that ball's going in the back of the net.
Yeah.
But you think back to opportunities that were like that and others that came to him, and he was very, and he snatched at them, and he was not there was no real belief that he was going to score there. But now the belief is every time he gets the ball around, I'm going to score today.
Yeah.
And that's the difference, and that's the biggest change, I think, in his head, which I think Di Matteo's obviously had a part to play in that.
Yeah.
But the fact that he's probably had a word with him, say, no, it will come right, whatever, and he's supported him and really been there for him.
I think he's done a brilliant job juggling Drogba and Torres in that sense, because you had 2 egos and 2 big strikers there.
Well, I know you say about egos, but I don't think there's such an ego with Torres. Torres looks to me that he just wants to play football and score goals.
Yeah.
And you know, as long as he's in the team, he'll give you 100%. Because his work rate, there, you look at his work rate,
true.
all the way through when things were going wrong. He's been fantastic.
That's what I'm talking to Nick about. Perhaps temperament rather than ego, Nick, then it is with Torres. Argue with that was what you accused Drogba of having. But obviously, you know, you've seen that guy week in, week out during those kind of lean periods. Have you looked at a man who looked out of sorts, who looked disgruntled? Could you actually? There was something about his body language that said he didn't think he was that footballer anymore.
His confidence has changed totally. His body language is so much more positive. In the first few weeks or first few months, yes, he was trying hard. It wasn't going well for him, and he was always looking at another option, whether it was passing the ball to somebody else, not taking a chance. It just wasn't working for him, and the confidence levels were really at rock bottom. But you can tell in the last 3 or 4 weeks, not just the Barcelona goal, but he's been brimming with confidence. And even when he hasn't been scoring, he really has been working hard for the team and making a lot of assists. It really is it's a totally different player.
Can I've just got to let you go now, though, Nick, but I want to ask you just quickly, a kind of a yes or no, really. Can you make that top 4 as well as getting yourself several cups in the next couple of weeks?
I think we can. We've got 3 matches to come where we can get maximum points, and Tottenham have got a couple of games that against teams that are going to be battling. I think they're playing Bolton and Villa away, so we'll beat Newcastle. Well, we have to win all the matches. If we beat Newcastle, we'll be ahead of them. Sorry, a bit more than a one-word answer, but if we still need to wait for Tottenham to drop points. And I think there is a risk with those 2 matches in particular, Bolton away and Villa away, that they'll come unstuck in one of those, and we only need them to come unstuck in one. Nice one, Nick. I'm going to take that as a yes. Yeah. That's what I'm going to do. That's a long yes. Thank you very much indeed for your time. So there you go. That's Nick, the Chelsea fan, obviously delighted with the way it's all gone for them today.
Stay ahead of the game with Sports Tonight Live. Don't miss a thing. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. Search for Sports Tonight Live on Facebook and like our fan page. Follow Sports Tonight TV on Twitter and tweet us your thoughts and opinions. Sports Tonight Live, it's the platform for the fans.